Today, I want to talk about something that's not mentioned enough in the ADHD community. We talk a lot about the co-occurrences of having ADHD paired with anxiety and depression. But I think for me personally, the thing that has really bit me in the butt the most as far as having ADHD and living with it is overwhelm. Not only just regular overwhelm, but crippling overwhelm. Deer in the headlight, freeze and not know where to start overwhelm. So today I want to talk a little bit about why people with ADHD might struggle with overwhelm. And then I want to give you some tips and tricks that I use in my coaching business with my clients, and I use myself to alleviate some of that crippling overwhelm so I can still get things done. For anyone who doesn't know me, hello, my name is Sara Kelly. I'm an ADHD mindset coach, and I come out with videos every single week on everything ADHD and the things that pair with having and living with ADHD. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a video from me. A couple of things that I've struggled with having ADHD and feeling the effects of crippling overwhelm are decision making, breaking a task down into appropriate pieces and then knowing where to start. I tend to be more of a big picture thinker and see the entire task as one entity, and knowing where to start sometimes can be a real struggle. And that's actually part of our executive dysfunction, is not knowing where to start in a task or gradation of task. So why do we struggle with overwhelm as ADHD people? ADHD people tend to experience life more passionately and intensely. And this comes back to our emotional dysregulation, which is also part of our executive dysfunction. So if we have to get something done and it has to get done right away, we can fall into perfectionism, not knowing where to start, being really hard on ourselves, leading to our emotional bandwidth just feeling like it's absolutely exploding. We can tend to catastrophize situations and make them much bigger and scarier than they need to be. ADHD people also live in our heads a ton. We will replay things that have happened in the past, and because of human nature, we tend to have a negativity bias, and that's not just for ADHD people. Neurotypical people have it as well. So we might do 5 or 6 things right and really, really well, but we tend to ruminate on that one thing that we did wrong. And for fear of doing it wrong again, we might struggle with our attention to detail as we're rushing to get through some of these more mundane tasks that maybe we don't like doing. And because we live in our head a lot, we are really, really afraid that we are going to mess up in some way, which causes that feeling of overwhelm. As Dr. William Dotson talks about having ADHD and overwhelm, he says, ADHD people are overwhelmed by experiences. By liking this video, more ADHD people will see this video in the algorithm. You know, the name ADHD in it of itself really doesn't make sense, because ADHD is not a deficit in attention. It's too much attention on too many things. And I really believe that that adds to our overwhelm. We might be working on something, yet hear the humming of the fridge in the next room, which can be very distractible, or voices of our family members in another room. We get distracted through our peripheral vision when we see something out of the corner of our eye. And it's really hard to get back into doing the thing that we need to get done once we are distracted, and that adds to our overwhelm. Now, if the task that you have to do, you are lucky enough to be able to hyper focus on it, the distractions may not bother you as much. But if you're doing a task that's mundane and boring, we almost have that lack of full attention on the task, and that makes us a lot more susceptible to outside stimuli, outside of what we're trying to get done and, focusing on doing. We also have really busy brains. Dr. Hallowell, who is a doctor who has written books on ADHD, says that an ADHD brain is like driving a Ferrari with bicycle brakes. And that absolutely ties back into overwhelm. Our brains are moving so fast, so quickly, that it's really hard to get focused in on getting that task done and completed, because because the whole squirrel phenomenon really comes into effect when we're not able to hyper focus on something that's a little bit more mundane. So now that we understand a little bit more about why overwhelm might get in the way of us getting things done, let's talk about some tips and tricks that you can use right now, today, the next time you have to get something done and you are feeling overwhelmed. Tip number 1 is have a pad and a piece of paper beside you when you sit down to do a task. This way, if your brain starts squirreling and going in multiple directions, you can write down what you're thinking about and then move on so that it is not taking up real estate in your brain. Another thing that you can do is to break the task down into manageable steps. And I love doing this by mind mapping. My brain is not good at sorting out the small details without the help of pen and paper. So grabbing a piece of paper and a pen and spending 10 or 15 minutes or even 5 minutes organizing what you need to get done and the deadlines that your task needs to be done in can absolutely help. And if you struggle breaking the task down, try to use time blocks of 30 minutes or less by using the Pomodoro technique. You can use a kitchen timer. Please don't use your phone because that will be a distraction. You should always have your phone out of the room when you are wanting to focus on getting a task done. Now, before starting the task, especially if it's something really painful and boring and it's causing you a lot of overwhelm, do something to increase your dopamine before you get started. You can choose an optimal time in the day when you are on your A game to do the task. For me, myself, I'm a morning person, so I wouldn't start a major project at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm emotionally drained by then, but 7 in the morning, I am absolutely on my A game. So I do start tasks first thing in the morning. You can go outside for a walk, do a few jumping jacks or push-ups. Getting that dopamine flowing exercise and dopamine production absolutely go hand in hand. Or you can grab your favorite coffee drink or high protein snack to give you the energy to get through that task. And finally, not depending so heavily on our working memory when we need to get something done is huge. It's been huge for me. Don't be scared to use the reminders, the calendars, the visual cues with deadlines so that you aren't stressed out at the 11th hour because maybe you have put off the task until the last minute. A lot of ADHDers work really, really well when they do put a task off to the last minute. I am one of those ADHD people who does not work well under pressure. So something that I do to get tasks done in a timely manner is I give myself false deadlines. Once I have the task and I've broken it into manageable steps, I move up my deadline for each step of that task a few days so that I'm giving myself a bit of a buffer for those low mood days, those low spoon days. A lot of ADHD people, coaches, community talk about how many spoons we have, really leaning into how much energy we have to work on something versus when we don't have a lot of energy. And that also can help with ADHD burnout. Now, if you learned anything in today's video, please share it in the comments. And again, liking this video and sharing it with other ADHDers or maybe a neurotypical person in your life who you would like to understand your ADHD better pushes this video out to more ADHDers and the algorithm. And if you are a woman late diagnosed with ADHD and you struggle with your self-esteem and or mindset or sense of self, I do have a complimentary masterclass linked in the description of this video that goes over the 5 pillars to creating lasting change when you have ADHD and you struggle with your sense of self. And I'm just going to give you a secret with that. We do have the lower dopamine and we also have the executive dysfunctions, but the blanket that we really need to uncover before we can go after those 2 things to be productive and successful as ADHD people are working on our mindset and our self-esteem. People who feel good about themselves, people who feel confident, aren't scared to try new things, people who have a lower sense of self and maybe have heard too many negative things from others throughout their life. that really is a motivation killer. So if you do struggle with your self-esteem at all, please check out that masterclass. I'm sure it'll help you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed doing the research for it. I hope that you got some value from it. I know I did a ton. Just as a reminder, again, I do come out with videos every single week. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And I will see you next week in the next video.